Feral hogs have been destructive, even aggressive. So tonight, the residents are fighting back.
Local 2's Andy Sirota joining us live with this story that you'll see only on 2 tonight. Andy?
Dominique, these feral hogs are known to create quite the mess, tearing up yards wherever they go. But that's not what worries residents most. Homeowners fear it's only a matter of time before somebody gets seriously hurt. With large ruts and torn up grass peppered across her front lawn, Kingwood homeowner Nancy Shopman admits these days living next to a greenbelt isn't all it's cracked up to be, and says it's no secret who's behind this mess.
The pig issue, as we say it around here.
It's no joke. This is how much damage the feral hogs have caused in just 1 week. They lurk in the woods and strike under night cover and dig in search of food, leaving behind trails of destruction. But it's not the landscape Shopman and her neighbors worry most about.
These pigs can be quite vicious animals. They're large.
They believe something far more precious is at risk here.
The pigs come out just before dawn, and at this time of day, our high schoolers are going to the bus stop. You know, 6:30 in the morning, there are kids walking up the street, heading for the bus. It's not the same as seeing a deer. These animals, you know, will attack you. And
the hogs are targeting homes up and down the greenbelt. It's so bad, some homeowners on a neighboring street have spent their own money on trappers. Concerned residents have turned to their community association for guidance, but claim they're not getting answers fast enough, and that's only adding to their frustration.
We need somebody who is knowledgeable about trapping these pigs to come out and take care of the issue. It's dangerous, and it's not something that a few neighbors can do anything about.
Residents have contacted the city of Houston and Texas Parks and Wildlife, and while trapping may be the best solution, residents say it can get really expensive. We're live tonight in Kingwood. Andy Sirota, KPRC Local.
The classroom countdown is over this morning for children in the Houston area. They're heading back to school this morning. And children who attended class in the North Forest School District last May will find themselves in Houston ISD today. It's a change reflected in the sign outside North Forest High School. HISD annexed the perpetually struggling district under orders from the Texas Education Commissioner. It was a drastic step brought on by years of low student performance and financial mismanagement in North Forest ISD. But some alumni say the bad headlines should not overshadow educators who made a difference.
I had problems at home when I was growing up. My mother had a drug problem that was pretty bad. But I could go to school and find a teacher who would tell me to keep my head up.
The former North Forest Administration building is now being used by Houston Community College.
There are thousands and thousands. Police and wildlife officers rushed to the scene, searching through the night for some sign of the victim. By daybreak, they killed 3 giant crocs, but found nothing. Jeffrey Kaufman, ABC News, London.
Sad story from South Florida. A 12-year-old boy who had been fighting a rare brain-eating amoeba has lost that fight. Zachary Reyna's family was set to take him off life support last night. It is believed he was infected while playing in fresh water just over 3 weeks ago. He was kept alive on ventilators so his organs could be donated. There have been nearly 30 similar infections in the U.S. over the last decade. Nearly all of them are fatal.
But there is better news about a 10-year-old girl from Pennsylvania who's recovering after receiving a double lung transplant. Her family says Sarah Murnahan's condition is improving. Murnahan has been taken off of oxygen, but she's still getting support from a machine that helps her breathe. She's suffering from end-stage cystic fibrosis. Her parents, who won the right for Sarah to get new lungs after challenging national transplant rules. Her first set of transplanted lungs failed after a surgery in June, and she got her second set only 3 days later.
Well, that's just great news to hear that she's doing well. That machine that she's on, it's for pressure. It's almost similar to what somebody uses for sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Her mom says that the prognosis is good. She has a long stretch of rehab ahead of her, but the prognosis looks really good right now, so that's just wonderful.
Oh, my God. And not only is she off of the oxygen, but she's been able to get up out of her hospital bed. She's been able to walk around the hospital, even go outside for a few breaths of fresh air, which is pretty amazing considering we were talking about this story pretty recently, and it was almost the end. It was, and that's why her mom was fighting so hard to get that double lung transplant.
Just makes you feel so bad for all the people who are still on that list.
That's true.
Well,
hey kids, you know what tomorrow is.
Oh, back to school, back to school.
Students are gearing up for the new school year, making sure they have everything they need to start the year off right. And to help out, the Houston Police Department, along with some volunteers, donated their time to help some local students get all spruced up for their first day of school.
It's going to give them a boost of self-esteem. It's going to probably keep some kids from being bullied because, you know, nowadays kids get bullied for any and everything. And they'll go back to school looking like all the rest of the kids.
Kids got a chance to get a free haircut, along with some styling tips, backpacks, and school supplies during the 5th annual Look Good, Feel Good event.
Looking good, Billy Ray! Feeling good, Louis!
And while some students may be sad that summer is finally coming to an end, we have a pretty good idea of how parents feel about it. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Okay, a little over dramatic for a preseason football game, but those lines pretty much sum up the first half of the Texans-Saints game. The Texans came out firing on all cylinders early as they outgained the Saints 164 yards to 28 yards in the first quarter and would lead 10-0. But then the second quarter was all New Orleans, scoring 17 points and gaining 217 yards in offense.
Defensively, we're giving up too many big plays in the first half of each of our preseason games, and that's not all first team, but in the first half of our 3 preseason games, we've given up some movement of the ball.
The Texans had to be pleased to see how strong Andre Johnson was, as he looks to be in Pro Bowl form.
It's a game. You play to win. You just try to make the best of the opportunity. So I was given a lot of opportunities in the first half of the game. I just did what I could.
The preseason is all about working out the kinks, and Game 3 usually deemed to be the forecaster of things to come. So, do the Texans feel ready for the season opener now, a little over 2 weeks away?
The next 2 weeks is continue to progress and get better in all areas. I think, you know, looking at tonight, we want to be able to finish drives better.
We have to do what's best for the team before that week one. We want to make sure everyone's healthy, everybody's mind's in the right position to take us into that first game.
Finally tonight, back home in the juice box, going for 2 straight wins with the Astros. How often do we get to say that? Brandon Barnes helping the cause with a shot for the gap in right center. 2 runs come on down. That means you too, Brett Wallace, beating the tag at home plate. But this day belonged to Jason Castro, sending out a spicy meatball for a 2-run shot. That's home run number 1. Then in the 7th, he's back for seconds. A solo shot this time as the Astros end up getting a win 8-5. So we can say... Well, we go. Dynamo left the compass for O Canada tonight. Apparently didn't get the memo to brace for the impact. Still scoreless in the 35th minute until Marco DeVaio just does Corey Ash dirty with a stutter step. Boom, it goes. It's 1-0. A score that lasted all of 2 minutes. Felipe Martins bends it with the best of them. Those 2 goals would have been plenty of insurance with impact. Go ahead and tack on 3 more because, well, they could. 5-0 ends up being your final. Finally tonight. Well, as you well know, over the offseason, Jerry Jones made Tony Romo the Cowboys' $100 million man. To this point, though, the return on that investment has been zero in the form of touchdowns. That's how many times Romo in the first-team offense had even sniffed the end zone this preseason. Back inside the friendly confines of AT&T Stadium for their home opener, the boys were out to change that script. Romo did so by sharing the wealth. First, with a money ball to Des Bryant. Lob it up and let 88 go to work. He's a big dude. Cowboys tie it up as a result, 7 apiece. Time for the 2-minute drill now. Near the end of the half, Romo turns to Miles Austin for the ball that goes right through Austin's hands. But 2 plays later, he totally redeemed himself, maneuvering his way back to the back of the end zone. Romo finds him through traffic. Touchdown number 2 for the first team. And the Cowboys end up taking it 21-18, the final. From America's teams. A T-minus 17 hours to kick off, give or take a few minutes. The stage is set for tomorrow's dress rehearsal at Reliant. Sharing the spotlight with the Saints, the Texans' lead role players should get between 30 to 40 snaps, according to Gary Kubiak, which makes this game the most meaningful of the preseason. Because last week the play count was about half that. Game 4, we may not even see the starters. Ipso facto, Andre Johnson told me there's something very specific he and the other vets are going to be looking to take away from tomorrow.
I think it's just more just knowing where you need to be. Like the veteran guys, we know where we need to be or feel after this game. So when I walk off the field Sunday, the game is over, I want to feel a certain way. And if I feel that way, I know I'm ready to
go out and play.
To make sure your little ones are ready for the first day of school on Monday, the American Baptist General Convention of Texas is hosting a health fair today, the annual Christian Fun Street Festival, I should say, and Back to School Health Fair will take place on Dennis Street from 10 this morning until 6 tonight. Parents will get finger ID kits and smoke detectors to help keep kids safe, and kids will get a health checkup, including immunizations. They'll also receive school supplies. But if you can't make it to that event, Congressman Gene Green is hosting the 18th Annual Immunization Day from 9 this morning until 1 this afternoon at Davila Elementary, Galena Park High School, and Amoeba Elementary School as well. All parents are asked to bring your child's immunization records along with you to get those free shots.
Houston by numbers, football history. The Houston Oilers had a 36-year run from 1960 to 1996. The Oilers played at Jefferson and Rice Stadium before finding a home in the Astrodome. The Oilers won American Football League championships in 1960 and 61 and division titles in 62, 67, 91, and 93. In 1997, Bud Adams packed up his team and moved to Tennessee. In 1999, the NFL voted unanimously to bring football back to the Bayou City, awarding Bob McNair the 32nd NFL team for a record $700 million. In 2000, the team officially became the Houston Texans. That's Houston by numbers, football history.
Things got pretty heated at an Eastwood community meeting over concerns that emergency services may not be able to reach their homes. Those concerns come after the city closed intersections near where Sherman Street crosses the railroad tracks, and that's near Marsden. Eyewitness News reporter Christine Dobbin was at that meeting. She joins us live now with what was said. Christine?
Dave, the city admits it made a mistake, and as a result, it has halted the project. But some of the residents around here say they want the work undone.
While most in this Eastwood neighborhood would like to live without this. It's the side effect of the project that has some angry.
That street closure, Sherman and the railroads, is exactly where maybe 3 weeks ago there was a railroad accident. And they needed to evacuate the neighborhood, and that street is shut off.
Some residents say they don't want Sherman Street closed at the crossing. The city is installing a quiet zone, a federal designation with specific grades to limit train noise.
We're sorry. All we can say, it was not intentional. We're trying to make it right.
But they admit they made a mistake before starting and not notifying all the neighbors.
If the community wants the streets back open, then we're willing to do that. If they want the quiet zone, we're willing to do that as well.
The concerns over the road closure range from traffic at nearby elementary schools to EMS response.
The way I tried to explain it, 30 or 40 seconds in a fire or an emergency, that could mean life or death for somebody.
Nearby Harrisburg has light rail construction and Canal a recent lane reduction. There are those at the meeting who say leave it closed and quiet.
I enjoy the quiet zone. For me, I want to be treated like I'm in Westview.
If the city decides the majority want it reopened, it will cost thousands of dollars to undo the work.
And the Department of Public Works is taking written comments until September 14th. Live in Eastwood, Christine Dobbin, 13 Eyewitness News.
And tonight, in a final report at the end of a lengthy investigation, the TEA says Barnett Public School, that's a charter school in Houston, is misusing money meant for students. The agency also says board members are benefiting through contracts and improper use of funds. In a response to the TEA's initial report, charter school defended its actions and maintained it did not intentionally do anything wrong.
Closing